Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Nick Cage Fight Podcast, where we narrowly avoided cancellation from H Bomber Guy, despite the fact that all of our content is just telling you what happens in a movie, which is close to plagiarism as you can get without stealing words from actual writers. I'm one of your hosts, Josh, joined as always by Rich and Ryan. How are we feeling?
I was sweating that entire video.
4 hours is a long time to fucking sweat.
And he put out an addendum video too that I gotta watch. A second video.
Oh my god. But yeah, the whole time watching somebody's YouTube career go down the drain, I'm just like, please don't bring up that we just tell you what happens in the movie.
Well, a lot of because I think I was telling you guys maybe like 4 months ago, like, oh, I was following this like Illuminati drama, and you're like, who's that?
Yeah, now I know.
Yeah.
Now I'm intimately aware.
She is the worst. But I have a very important question for the both of you, and I don't know if we have anything on the record yet for the podcast.
I mean, my answer is no. I've never done opium, but this movie did make me feel like I was.
Okay, I mean, no, that's the second question. The first question is,
right.
do both of you condemn Hamas? Josh's face.
Look, we'll give our answers, but just bleep this part.
Yeah.
Our opinions on that are not up for public consumption. And also, by the way, nobody wants our dipshit opinions on anything regarding geopolitics, man.
I'll put it this way. I am not well enough educated to know that, to make a salient point about this other than bombing civilians is fucked.
For the record, correct. Josh is not condemning Hamas.
Yeah, for the record. No. Obviously, in general, condemn like military actions against civilian targets 100%. That shit's a war crime.
Yeah.
But Hamas in general was originally like an Israeli-backed political faction, and no Palestinian, well, more than half of the Palestinian population has not voted for Hamas because they haven't had an election in something like 15 years, and 50% of their population is in their teenage years. So I don't know, I'm a fucking idiot. Don't ask me questions on geopolitical stances, but war crimes and bombing civilians is bad. That seems like an easy take.
Damn, I was just doing a bit to try to fill some time because this movie fucking sucks.
This movie did fucking suck.
This movie does suck.
I mean, I know what we can talk about. Did either of you see the new Godzilla? I don't know, Josh didn't yet, but I did. It was good.
No, I haven't seen it yet.
I want to. Apparently, like everybody was saying, it's really good. I want to see it.
It's rock solid. I had some minor gripes, like the mainland mayhem is a little truncated, but there's a lot to like about that movie. Good human drama. Good Godzilla. He's a big boy in this one.
Did you see the trailer dropped for the next Godzilla Kong movie?
I did. I saw it play on one of the fucking TVs we've got in the bar at my work that is almost always just playing sports. I think it was between some sports, and I got all juiced on its vibe.
Yeah, man, it looks like it might have some dumb as fuck parts, but I am 100% here for it. Kong gets a mecha fist or a gauntlet of some sort, which looks amazing. And there's a scene where him and Godzilla run at the camera, and that's really it. That's all I'm
here for. Yeah.
Yeah, that's like the only thing I care about with like the whole Universal like monster universe, whatever they're doing. Isn't Kong a part of that?
I don't think those are related to Universal. Universal's like the fucking Frankenstein, Dracula, the Mummy, the Creature from the Black Lagoon monsters.
Oh, okay. I thought King Kong was like in that for some fucking reason.
I don't think King Kong was Universal. I gotta find that.
I think he was, because he was in Universal Studios. There was a ride when I was a kid, a King Kong ride. He fucked you up.
Let's see, King Kong 1933. Who did the production on this?
I'm going to be wrong. I'm going to be so sad.
I mean, it's going to take a while for me to figure out if you're wrong, because apparently my internet's really shitty today.
No, it's okay. While you're looking that up, I'll clue in the listener to the movie we're avoiding talking about this week is Outcast, 2014 not rated film that clocks in at an oddly excruciating hour and 39 minutes. There are
Also, it was RKO Pictures.
Yeah, I just found that, but I'm checking to see if RKO turns into Universal.
Sorry, sorry, Josh. This is more important than this movie.
I know
It
you
is.
guys are going to be ducking me all episode. I know it already.
Yeah. It's like, yeah, let's talk about King Kong some more. Okay, sorry. Continue talking about this terrible, terrible movie.
Yeah, hour and 39 minutes which is usually like very close to the sweet spot that we like for run times. Thankfully, it wasn't longer, but I don't think they had much left to say. There are some things to like about this film. They were attempting something, they just failed to pull it off, and there's probably some reasons for that, which may start to become clear as early as housekeeping. So let's just jump into it.
Might as well.
So first up, we have the director, Nick Powell. And besides this, the only other film they directed was a film called Primal. But primarily they are
the Nick Cage movie.
Universal did buy out RKO in 1957.
Okay.
All right, there we go.
Wait, so Primal, the Nick Cage movie?
Yes. Yes, it is. It is. Yeah, we've got another one from this this guy.
Well,
also,
actually,
I'm also going to shout out all the people who don't have Wikipedia pages. Nick Powell is one of them. No Wikipedia page.
That's super duper weird, and I'm going to tell you why. Because Nick Powell's career outside of directing two films was primarily as an award-winning stuntman and fight choreographer. He won the award for the fight choreography for the Bourne Identity films, which is what gave us all of those really like truncated
30 cuts in 5 seconds.
Yeah. Which I'm not really.
And kids, remember this for later. That he won an Academy Award for fight choreography. It's going to be very important.
So, like, I didn't actually have a problem with the fight scenes in this movie. That's one of the things that I'm going to say they made some smart choices on, but we'll get into all of the bad choices they made as well. So that's the director, Nick Powell. Next up, we have the writer, which is a James Dormer.
No Wikipedia page.
Okay, so
correct.
James Dormer's only other full-length screenplay that I could find was a film called The Holding. He did do a lot of TV, including Beowulf, Return to the Shieldlands, Strike Back, Devils. But apparently, and this wasn't a show that I watched, but the current big claim to fame was he wrote the entire third season of a show called Medici on
it's
Netflix. Medici, okay.
Medici, the Italian family that was basically like the mob.
Gotcha.
Wait, what?
You don't know about the Medicis?
No, I'm about to.
Yeah, learn about the Medicis. They were like one of the biggest contributors to the arts, but also they were running some shady shit in Italy back in the day.
Ryan, do me a favor, pop that in the chat, because here's the thing. I'm canceling all my streaming services and I'm just putting up the Black Sails. So I have to download that later.
There you go.
I don't know if the show is any good. I just know about the family because I like a little history.
Oh, I'm gonna watch the show. I'll report back.
Yeah, let me know.
Let us know how the third season writing is, because I'm not gonna lie, I'm gonna sling a fair amount of mud at the writing on this.
That's
film.
fair.
So moving on to cast, which I'm gonna apologize to the cast, because when selecting individuals for housekeeping, I'm primarily going with people who at least have a headshot put together on something like IMDb, which is gonna not credit some of the folks that were primary actors and actresses in this film. So with that caveat out of the way, first up, as always, we have Nick Cage as Ghislaine Maxwell. No, I don't think that was his last name.
No, it was. He's currently serving a life sentence in prison.
Did she get a life sentence?
I don't know, actually.
I'm not familiar with exactly how that played out.
The Clintons will get her eventually.
Yeah, there you go. Next up, we have Hayden Christensen as Jacob. Hayden Christensen, of course, being in Star Wars. I think we've all seen him in that. Jumper, The Virgin Suicides, A couple episodes of the Goosebumps TV series from '97. But yeah, Hayden
I will say
Anakin.
he was not terrible in this.
And
He
I got to
wasn't.
shout it out because I love the movie. He was a paperboy in The Mouth of Madness, which is probably my favorite Sam Neill picture, and maybe my favorite John Carpenter. That's Not the Thing.
There you go.
Also,
But
went
yeah.
back and watched episodes 2 and 3 of Star Wars. Aged pretty well, I'd say. It's actually
They're
not the
fine.
worst.
They're fine. 3 has
They're
one of my
fine,
favorite
yeah.
lightsaber fights in the entire franchise.
Oh yeah, and Factory Girl. He was also in Factory Girl, which is a movie about how Andy Warhol is an abusive asshole who drove Edie Sedgwick into a heroin addiction.
A light watch
amongst us.
Yeah, real light watch. Hayden
Um,
Christensen plays Bob Dylan, but not named.
But no, Hayden Christensen was actually one of the good choices I think this film made, especially if you want sword fight scenes.
I was thinking that's probably why they cast him. They were like, he got all that training about A Star's War.
Did you not catch like his moves with
Yeah,
the
yeah,
sword?
yeah.
It was all
Yeah.
very, very comparable.
It's
man.
all lightsaber shit.
Exactly. So solid casting choice. Unfortunately, our boy Cage miscast. This is not the role you fucking wanted him in.
I don't know
man.
if he was miscast or if he wasn't paid enough to give a shit.
or sabotage a little bit.
Yeah.
Now, forgive some of my pronunciations from here on out. We have Bazal Wang as Lieutenant, who was in a number of films such as Romance of a Calligrapher, G-U-G, I think it's called, Waiting in Beijing, and that's all I got. For stuff that
I'll shout out one that I actually have seen, Lucky 13. It's an 80s like revenge thriller. I don't remember who he is in it because it's kind of like a revenge for her kind of deal, but it was fun. It's like some trashy, actiony revenge shit.
Okay.
All right.
Next up, we have Simon Chin as Captain Bao, who was in Snake Eyes, not the Cage one, the G.I. Joe movie. You know, he was in the Snowpiercer TV show. He was in Always Be My Maybe and The Unforgivable.
And he was not in Batman Begins.
He was not.
He was not in Batman Begins. That was Turbo Kong. No relation to Funky Kong. I will shout out that Simon Chin did some voice work in video games, and he's in a game that whips absolute ass called Sleeping Dogs. It's better than every GTA game.
I want Sleeping Dogs 2 so bad.
So fucking bad.
I'm glad somebody else is a Sleeping Dogs fan, man. That game was
awesome.
Good.
It's everything I wanted out of a GTA game but never got before. Like a good story and like actually interesting mission setups.
Yeah, it was like a Yakuza game if they were in any way serious.
I mean, those games are serious if all you do is play the main story.
They're serious in very short bursts.
Yes.
and the most fun you're gonna have playing it is the nonsense shit where you wander into a parlor of a bunch of grown men wearing diapers playing babies.
Let's pacify this bitch.
It's in every one of them, man. Next up we have Fernando Chin as Captain Wu. So he was in Shang-Chi and the Legend of Ten Rings. He was in the Iron Fist Netflix Marvel series. He was in The Accountant, which was a good flick. He was in Transcendence, which was also a decent flick in my opinion. And he did a bunch of stunts for a ton of stuff, like all of the Marvel stuff, Pirates of the Caribbean, shit like that. That's going to be a running theme here from the director on down. There's a lot of folks that were specifically stuntmen are involved in stunts and fight choreography for, large chunks of their career. Speaking of, next up, I have Jawed Burney as Moore Captain, also primarily a stuntman, but was in Savage Dog and VHS Viral, which I did actually watch.
Yeah, me too.
The VHS movies are decent,
I like anthology stuff.
Anthology
so
horror.
Yeah.
I like the vignette styles. Those are fun.
Yeah, me too.
So next up, I have Byron Lawson as Captain Peng, who was in Snakes on a Plane, Romeo Must Die, A Dangerous Man, and was also in the Smallville TV show.
Nice.
And then last up on mine, again, woefully underlisted housekeeping here. I apologize. Liang Shi as King, who was in The Last Emperor, Black Hat, Silence, CEO, and Skyfire.
Oh, I also have one that I can shout out for this dude. He's in a movie called Ping Pong: The Triumph. It does what it says on the tin. It's about a ping pong tournament. And
Nice.
I like sports movies about ping pong. I like Forrest Gump.
What was the goofy? I can't even remember if Will Ferrell was in it, but the Will Ferrell-esque, was it
Balls of
Balls of
Fury,
Fury.
yeah.
I clocked that as soon as you said what was the. I'm like, he's talking about Balls of Fury.
Yeah, it's Balls of Fury.
And it was not
Yeah.
Will Ferrell. It was
Wasn't Jack Black in that?
no, it was another fat loud guy. God, what was his name? I have to look this
My
up.
apologies to
Christopher
Jack Black.
Walken was apparently there as an Asian man.
Oh yeah, that's right. I remember that.
Yes,
shit
he
now.
was. But
Dan Fogler is the
yes.
main guy. James Hong is there. Fucking Terry Crews. Dietrich Bader. Damn, this movie's got a fucking cast.
Fucking George Lopez.
Yeah.
Dan
jumping on the
Fogler does play a very good Francis Ford Coppola though in the miniseries The Offer.
Oh, you were telling me to watch that. I got to get around to that one.
It's like I don't know. It's not good. It's just enjoyable. If that makes any sense.
Okay.
I actually don't. I like Dan Fogler when I see him. Honestly, I like him better when he's in semi-serious roles. If I'm not mistaken, he was in the Hannibal series. Let me see if I'm not misremembering.
I'm about to
I am
look it
not.
up.
He was in the Hannibal TV series. That's right.
Yes, for 3
And
episodes.
if you guys haven't seen that, I recommend.
Yeah, many people have recommended that to me. I don't think I will.
Really? It's not bad. If you like fucking episode, like if they gave Hannibal the like X-Files treatment, where it's kind of like a Monster of the Week style thing,
Yeah.
it's pretty good. Also, Mads Mikkelsen is criminally good. So
My problem is if you're going to do a Monster of the Week and the monster is always man every time.
yeah, well,
Yeah, I can
Answer
see
was-
that being old.
The monster was man all along.
that's fair. I'm not saying you're gonna learn anything from it. You're just gonna watch decent TV. All right.
Yeah. All right, I got a couple. Andy On plays Shing, the main bad guy in this. He was in a movie called Black Mask 2, which whips absolute ass. It's very cheesy. It's got John Polito in it for no apparent reason. What else we got?
I want to see him play a young Shang Tsung in a Mortal Kombat garbage movie.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
I think he could do the hell out of that role.
We are due for a Mortal Kombat garbage movie, especially with like what is it, Mortal Kombat 11 that just came out.
There was
that
a
did,
Mortal
like,
Kombat movie
complete
like 2 or 3 years ago, wasn't there?
Yeah, I think it's gonna
Yeah, but
get
it was
a sequel,
garbage.
too.
Yeah,
it was
good
garbage and not the right kind of garbage.
Okay, so
It was fun
it didn't have the
garbage.
right piquant.
It was fun garbage. Rich is wrong.
All right, so the next shout out I've got is Liu Yifei. She was like plays the princess in this. I just got to shout her out because she was the live action Mulan, and I think that bears some mention at the very least.
It's a good get, but the Disney's live action shit is just a naked.
Oh, it's god
cash grab.
awful, yeah. And then the rest of the name, like the actors with headshots, I don't recognize them for anything, so I don't really have anything to say except for Brian Ho, who was in X-Men Days of Future Past, but I can't clock him. I don't know who that man was in that. But he was in a movie called Chupacabra versus the Alamo, which I will have to hunt down and watch.
That's cool. And also Days of Future. Wait, no. That's not the one I was thinking. First Class is the one where they kill the unkillable mutant.
Yes.
Days of Future Past is Wolverine in Time.
That's the go back in time one.
Okay. All right, and there you go. Housekeeping is done. We've done some ducking and dodging, actually talking about this movie, so you know what time it is.
Dodgeball?
It's time for ads. Wish we could dodge those.
Duck,
well,
dodge,
I mean,
dip,
the
dodge,
listener,
dive.
The listener can dodge them by going to patreon.com/Nick Cage Fight. Oh my God, patreon.com/Nick Cage Fight. Yeah, I was right. Okay.
Are these ads really necessary? Is it necessary for me to drink my own urine? No, but I do it anyway because it's sterile and I likes the taste.
But you as a listener can not only not listen to ads, but also not drink your own urine for just $1 a month.
I mean, give us $1. You can still drink your own
You can
urine
still
if
drink
that's
your
your
own
thing.
urine.
That's fine.
I mean,
yeah.
if you think you likes the taste.
We're not
Yeah.
going to drop in and check on you.
Look, I'm not going to yuck your yum. It's fine.
Anyway, here, listen to these. And we're back.
Do you think that Hayden Christensen in this movie, like his character, do you think he would drink his own piss?
Absolutely, without a second guess.
Okay.
He gets pissed on in this film.
He does. Okay,
He does,
I was gonna ask if that's what was happening there.
Oh,
yes, there is a golden shower.
Explicitly
That's
what's
how
happening.
I saw it. But like they don't make it very explicit. But there's no way because they splash the water on him out of the one thing, and then you see the single stream, and I'm like, that's piss. That's got to be piss. That guy's really hydrated, but that's piss.
The soldiers stand all around him and piss on him.
Yeah.
All right.
It's not a kink thing though.
No, he's not paying them.
Yeah.
So we open on slow motion grimacing Hayden praying to God as a crusader from the Crusades. It's only one kind. We're in the Middle East, vaguely in the 12th century, panning down on a crusader camp, like just outside of where this battle is taking place. They're busting into an unnamed castle, and we get to see we get our first shot of Cage on horseback. Cage and Christensen are on horseback while there is a fairly wild foot combat melee going on. And it looks like Christensen's character Jacob is in charge, and Ghislaine is some sort of high-ranking lieutenant or officer, something like that, right? Ghislaine is suggesting that they just fucking stop, and Jacob is not really interested in this, and continues to plow on through this siege. So Ghislaine, the dialogue that we get here, it's pretty apparent Ghislaine is disillusioned with the crusade cause, and just wants to basically go AWOL and go east. To which he's told nobody goes east, and if he wants to go, to just go by himself from Jacob. Cage's accent in this is horribly bad.
It's god awful the entire time. I don't know what he's going for.
No idea. I had already started zoning out.
As like every single one of us on this podcast has spent time around a tabletop where games are being played and people are sometimes doing silly voices. This does not. If somebody did this at one of my games, I'd be like, you got to stop. Either talk normally.
This is a crime.
They'd instantly get a "this ain't it, chief."
Yeah. Work on that during your commute throughout the week, because it's bad. I don't like this.
I'd like to try and figure out what he's trying to go for, but I don't even have a hitching post. Maybe like Scottish, but I don't fucking know. Because like
I wasn't sure.
Character is supposed to be Scottish, and they show him being trained by Cage as a little kid. That's the only thing that could make any possible sense to me.
Was there any hint of what Cage is supposed to be from those flashbacks with the kind of clothing he was wearing? Because I could not fucking clock that shit.
No, I got nothing.
Okay.
I had no, yeah,
I mean,
same.
The type of helm he's wearing, I want to say Saxon, but I don't fucking know.
Fair. So the Crusaders push their way into the palace, with Jacob actually crossing blades with a dude who seems in charge on the enemy side. The man refuses to concede, and Jacob runs him through. Ghislaine follows Jacob through like the carnage in the inner sanctum of this castle, and he's doing work during this, like trying to stop the Crusaders from dragging off women and children. But then we get the title card of the film, which doesn't make a lot of sense to me, by the way. The name of the movie.
No.
No, it
I
doesn't.
mean they say the word Outcast numerous times, but like, yeah, I don't know. I don't know what they were going for.
Me neither. So we cut to the far east again, nebulous. 2 years later, and we have like a sick old king type character telling his young son that he is dying. And it looks like he wants his young son to succeed his place on the throne. However, there's a little bit of a problem with this because Kid has an older brother who is a warrior, a general of some sort. And speaking of, it looks like this guy is on his way to the throne room. So the king gives little bro the royal seal and tells him to get to yet another general of the kingdom and tasks his daughter, Lil Sis or Princess. I'm not big on names on my notes in this one. Just warning you.
Neither is
No,
the movie.
yeah, but I say the movie isn't either. The movie, half the people's names are lieutenant, general, so and so's wife.
So the king tasks the princess with keeping her younger brother safe, and then sends them off with a monk before warrior Big Bro shows up. So Big Bro is pissed off about the rumors he's hearing that his younger brother is going to get the throne.
And he's here to eat some scenery.
Oh, yeah. He just chews that right up.
He really does.
So there's some yelling and threatening. It looks like one of the lieutenants is going to step up and stop Big Bro from doing anything rash. But Big Bro calls his bluff on that, ultimately sending him and the rest of the soldiers out of the room, and then stabs his dad, the king, with a dagger. I love a bit of patricide early on in my films, but this is
boring.
It is a little bit.
You just poke some.
Also, and again, my big gripe with this movie is that we need to get these stunt guy fight choreographers who want to try their hand at directing better writing.
Absolutely.
Or maybe less input in the writing process. I'm not fucking sure. I'm not sure exactly where this formula breaks down, but break down it does. So Big Bro goes out to all the soldiers and tells the most incomprehensible lie to the men who were just in an empty room besides them, Big Bro, and the king.
Yeah, I have no idea how this scene worked. Like, I was only watching being like, wait, what?
Oh,
they couldn't put two and two together?
It's a continuity error because, like, I think they forgot that the other soldiers were actually there because they made it seem like only that one guy saw the king alive when everybody saw the king alive.
A bunch of them. There's at least 25 soldiers, and he goes out.
Okay,
and is like,
so there is a little Wikipedia sentence that tries to cover this up that says the guards and army only cooperate under fear of retribution. Retribution from who? He is one guy. Like, thanks, Wikipedia, for trying. I appreciate you, but still doesn't make any sense.
Well, it's funny because the movie can't figure out how they want to treat Big Bro in this, like, at any point, basically, except for one shot of him shirtless where you're like, oh, that's how you want to treat him. But no, so he comes out and is like, my younger brother killed our dad and stole the royal seal. Let's find him and correct this error. By the way, I'm the king now until further notice. That's crazy. So the soldiers set off to try and find the kid. Little Bro and the princess take off on a horse with the seal just ahead of the following soldiers. And we get our first scene where I'm like, okay, this might be cool. We get the monk that was escorting the kids. He just no weapons, just fights like 20 guys before getting mobbed. That was a cool scene. I liked that scene. Also, just to be clear, I know we glossed over it. The fight scenes, the sword fighting and stuff like that, and the opening sequence, all very competently done stuff. In my
competent
opinion.
Is the word I would use. Not exceptional, not like really that interesting. Competent.
Yeah, it didn't blow my tits off, but all of the things that I was seeing made sense. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
and you might not stop to appreciate those until you see like really bad fight scenes in like
Yeah.
a larger, melee combat displayed on screen. And you're like, God damn. No, this movie does fight scenes competently. It just the rest of everything that goes into the movie is not so great. So the prince and the sister's horse, like we cut forward in time a bit. The horse was hit with an arrow at some point and dies outside a sort of town,
Outpost, something like
village,
that.
something like that.
Way
um
station.
yeah, it's a big enough establishment to have a tavern somewhere in there
Yeah.
that lets in like civilians, because originally I thought it was a military outpost, but I don't think you can just fucking like wander through there and be like, I want to get a drink. I don't think that's how that shit works. The sister goes in and tells king in waiting little bro to hide outside, and then we cut to the inside of a tavern, and there is an individual with a ridiculously large hat completely hiding his face, that is drinking in the tavern, and seems super duper high.
He's
Uh,
so faded.
this is good acting because it turns out this dude is fucking super duper high. We get some trippy camera effects from their point of view to really hammer this point home. But he trades his sword, which is a Crusader straight blade, for his food and drink. The sister walks into the tavern at this point and requests an escort for the road. It looks like there's a couple of like bandit dudes who are either or just ruffians of some sort, mercenaries, I don't know, who are
General
looking to
thugs.
either take her up on the offer or rob her or something like that, but they end up sitting down pretty quickly because shortly thereafter her younger brother is escorted in and tossed on the floor of the tavern by some soldiers that are hereafter referred to as Blackguard. That's what they call Big Bro's henchmen, basically.
Yeah.
So one of the soldiers takes the Crusader's blade from the hands of the tavern keep and restrains Lil Bro and Princess and takes the seal. Big Hat Dude finally gets up and reveals himself to be Jacob, and he, like I said, is high as shit. He requests his blade back. We see that we learn that he's super high on opium. Got a big old chunk of it, like a huge chunk of
Yeah.
opium. That is a solid personal
It's like
stash.
it's an
Yeah.
amount that is comparable to like a gallon of PCP.
Yes,
Your
it
kids
is.
are with the drug dealer? Yup.
Yeah. It's like you're addicted. Got a gallon. You do have a gallon. So the soldiers beat him and piss on him. This is the piss scene. I don't have a timestamp. If that's your thing, you're just gonna have to fast forward around. You'll get to it.
Someone has masturbated to this movie, though, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, probably.
Sure. They go to kill him, and he remembers his fighting skills and pops off sexual style. He again, unarmed at this point, fights the soldiers and is really beating the shit out of them until the main soldier, the first one that came in, the one who's doing all the talking and threatening, holds the young prince hostage with the Crusader's own sword, and Jacob kills him with a pretty nasty spear throw,
Yeah.
and then recovers his
Oh,
sword.
we had the establishing spear throw in
Yep.
the Crusader section because he fucking hucks one and he gets an archer that's on like the roof earlier in the movie. So we know he can do shit like that.
Not even that. There's another scene in the opening fights where he throws a spear, and it's one of my favorite. It's like video game physics where like a spear thrown by one human man like knocks another human man like off of their feet and
Yeah,
impales
yeah.
them against a wall.
Yeah. That's like right
So
after the
yeah, the
piss
guy can
scene, right?
throw. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Jacob collects his opium and then goes to leave. The princess and Lil Bro follow him, requesting his help as an escort. There is a fun bit of camera work I want to shout out because drunk high Jacob like picks up a basin of water and dumps it on his face, but we get a
Oh, I
great
did
camera
like
mounted.
this. Yeah.
I figured you would have, but I had to call it out because the movie does not do this like any other time.
No, it's like the only interesting camera framing that we get in the entire film.
It's like a Raimi shot.
Yeah,
Where you
it's
have
a point of view from the water basin.
yeah, as he dumps it on his head. Solid shot. Props to that shot. So he doesn't seem interested at all in the requests from the two young royals, despite their offer of gold. He gets on his horse and rides away. He's like, by the way, you're gonna get caught if you stay here, and just takes off with his horse. So Jacob is dealing with some like PTSD from the Crusades, which makes sense.
Justifiable.
Yeah, and we get a flashback.
Yeah, they were
scene
fucked up.
that sort of implies that he killed the woman in the castle who seemed to be, if not the queen, the consort or something of the armored dude who was running the castle, that Jacob ended up killing in single combat. But yeah, that's the sort of flashback he has there. So he ends up finding Lil Bro and Princess that I wasn't sure if they were trying to like follow him, sort of like drift in his wake, or if he went back and explicitly found them making their own way.
It's not made very clear because
No.
this movie has got some problems in the narrative department.
Yeah. So he helps them evade the rapidly approaching blackguard that's on their heels, basically. Does the classic hide your tracks with swooping branch I think I saw for the first time when I was a kid in 101 Dalmatians.
Yeah.
Yes, they did that.
And they hide in a crevice as like the blackguards pass. And ultimately agrees to escort them where they're going in exchange for gold. So they set off together, and they come across a village that's being raided by blackguard soldiers. Jacob sees what's going on, is like, all right, we gotta go. And the kids are like, no, they're hurting people, they're kidnapping people.
They're making people listen to BYU ads.
Yeah, it's about that time, isn't it?
I was about to say, speaking of.
Yep.
Speaking of hurting people,
I wonder if any of these BYU ads talk about soaking and their jump buddies.
I was about to ask, like, did y'all see that? Because I had to look up what all of those things meant.
I knew what most of those meant, but I needed a refresher on what
It hit the
jump
discourse
buddy.
a while ago, and I saw something just today before we get into the Mormon school ads. There was apparently another loophole that they were enjoying a couple years ago, and I don't know if it's still a thing, where as long as there isn't directly pictured nudity, you can get around the no pornography rules. And to demonstrate this, somebody took a picture of like women in bikinis and then put basically like a Swiss cheese overlay where it hid the clothing they were wearing and showed like bits of skin. So like you could imagine that they were naked, and that's what apparently the Mormons were jerking off to for a while there.
Just jerk off to cheese. It's easier.
Just jerk off to hentai. That shit's censored anyway.
I wonder if that's a workaround.
I wonder if it is too. I gotta get my maybe just fucking call up BYU and be like, I've got a survey I'd like to conduct.
Just start cold emailing BYU students, be like, come on our podcast real quick. It's for a Patreon episode. We're just going to ask you the most offensive questions we can think about regarding your belief system.
Look, I just really need to know about
When
those
is the
gold
last
slabs.
When is the last time you jump humped?
I apologize to all our Mormon listeners.
Okay, what I want to know is, does the jumper get off on it?
Yeah, does that count as a three-way?
Does it count as a three-way?
It counts as a weird three. It 100% counts as a weird three.
Does it do anything for him though?
It might. Wait,
I'm about to say, I think maybe it depends. Like, like you have the dudes who like get off on watching other dudes fuck their wives. Like maybe it's like that.
It could be like that.
It's They're the cuck jumper.
Yeah. Cuck Jumper is a killer supervillain name.
Call it for the ska band name, guys.
Ooh.
Anyway, here you go. Listen to some fucking ads, or we're gonna do this all night. And we're back. I'm still fucking laughing at that.
Yeah, no, we're not going to talk about this movie anymore. We're going to talk about the physics
Gotta talk about the physics
of
the
jump hopping.
Yeah.
And
Well,
so
I guess
now, so here is my question though.
Mhm.
So I get the whole like soaking and jump hopping. I get that.
Do you?
But how do you get the P in the V without accounting? Because there's got to be some sort of motion there.
It's just the one motion. It takes you one motion to get there.
Right, but doesn't that motion count?
I think it does, but I also think that if you're dumb enough to get sucked into the Mormon religion, you could probably talk yourself out of it.
All right, look, we're going to talk about this more on our Patreon, patreon.com/NickCageFight. Just look for an episode called Jump Humping coming out soon.
Yep.
You
Also, give us $1.
Yeah, give us $1.
You gotta question a religion that's offshoots are really, really into polygamy, that they'd be such prudes prior to marriage. You know what I mean? Or maybe the one is correlated directly with the other.
I think there's a floodgate effect here.
Maybe, but then how did that just skip the evangelicals? Although I'm sure there's some weird Christianity offshoots where polygamy is a problem too.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't know.
But okay,
Mostly the ones we've heard about are the real fucked up offshoots, like Branch Davidians and shit.
Yeah.
Like on Thanksgiving, I watched a bunch of Sister Wives for some reason.
Oh.
And it's like, it is the weirdest polygamy I've ever seen in my life.
Go on.
Like,
yeah, continue.
So it seems like, so you have like the dude, and the dude, by the way, looks like, remember the Geico commercials with the cavemen?
Yes, I do.
He looks like one of them.
Okay. Yeah, that tracks.
It seems like he is not in charge. It seems like there is a hierarchy, but there's two separate hierarchies. There is the hierarchy of how long he has been with each woman, and then there's a hierarchy of who he likes best. Because the first hierarchy depends on what happens in the house, and that's the woman that he married first. And then there's the hierarchy of who he spends time with, and that is the woman that he married last.
Oh, okay.
Mathematically, this all tracks so far.
It's
I
just
understand the semantics of it, but not the pragmatics of it.
Yeah. Like you would think that he would be more I don't know, vocal in these things, being Mormon and all.
Better to sit back and let them fight, I would guess, to a certain extent.
Yeah.
Bring it back to our Godzilla discussions.
Yeah, let's just talk about Godzilla.
Let them fight.
I found it interesting that Godzilla -1 was set almost exclusively in the years directly after World War II.
That's not weird. That's where that the whole allegory of that character sprang from, no?
But we haven't had a explicitly post-World War II Godzilla movie technically ever. They're all set in like the mid-50s or later, or much, much, much later.
Huh.
Well, yeah, because you need time for all that radiation.
Why was it called -1?
Because it's a prequel to Godzilla 1.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
right.
Yeah.
I like it.
It's the Godzilla movie that happens the earliest on the timeline.
Cool. I like that. All right, back to this film because we got it. Let's
do we have to?
A little bit. Yeah, do we have to?
Yeah, we do. So
all right.
Jacob wants to leave. The kids are like, no, we have to do something. The prince, overwhelmed with his concern for the people. By the way, that's the whole logic behind the king naming him as the successor to the throne, is because yes, his brother helped him do all the war shit to have a kingdom. But now what is needed is a ruler that cares about the people and can manage a peacetime. So anyway, the kid pulls a bow, fires an arrow shittily, does not save this other kid that's being kidnapped by one of these soldiers. So Jacob finally goes, grabs the bow, restrings it. I don't understand that scene. Did you guys have any input on that?
I
No
might have
idea.
realized that it didn't have a high enough tensile strength on that specific string to get the type of shot he needed to get, because you need a pretty hard, heavy string pull or a
Yeah,
long string pull to be able to get those long shots.
that makes
That's my
sense.
guess. I'm not speaking from a place of like expertise or anything. That's
Like there is a scene though where he's explicitly fucking with the bow.
yeah.
So yeah, okay. All right. And then he does make a pretty wild shot to take a rider on the wing and not injure the person like laid across the saddle. Anyway, he does this like midstream when like the rider is crossing a stream. They go down. Jacob pulls the child from the water and drags them to shore. Yeah, no, he saves them very conveniently in a way where nobody notices the trailing blackguard that just died from like the band of raiding soldiers. So it's just this one person that they pick off. Jacob is convinced to take this new kid with them because the prince does, to I guess cleverly goes, they're looking for 3 people, not 4 people. It's like, yeah, not 8 people. Let's get a bunch of people together.
Yeah. Let's
And
get
like,
a war
oh,
band.
yeah, and they're just not going to check. They're just going to be like, oh, there's 8 people. We're only looking for 3.
So
Faces don't matter to us. We're just counting people.
also, I'm sorry, the liability in this scenario is the white guy. Like,
Yeah.
this whole movie is in English, which is probably another strike against it as
Oh,
far
absolutely.
as
Universal translator movies are always kind of stupid.
yeah, there's a fair amount that doesn't make sense in it. But again, the white guy is just gonna stick out like a sore thumb. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know, if
Like
the
maybe
prince
ditch
and the
him.
sister like smeared some dirt on their face and took the other kid that they saved, like 3 dirty orphans, given what the blackguard is doing, would probably have a better shot of traveling inconspicuously.
Yeah.
Anyway, back at the palace, one of the generals that Big Bro summoned stands in audience before the new king, who threatens the general, who is really having none of it. Like Big Bro pulls his dagger and is like, you know, my brother killed the king. We have to find him and punish him. It's your job to do this, and I'm the new king. And the general is just like, oh no, look, if your younger brother killed the king, we will find him and we will punish him, because whoever killed the king, prince or no, is not above the consequences of that action. Like really, really giving the hairy eyeball to Big
Yeah.
Bro the whole time. So from here we cut back to Jacob and the kids. So the whole bit, the entire plot is it's a race to get the goober to a specific location before getting captured.
Ooh, are we just gonna call everything a goober now? I love
I
that.
think so. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
pretty good.
I honestly, I never hated the term MacGuffin, but Goober was a pretty solid upgrade
Yeah.
to it from the Into the Spider-Verse, so I'm a fan. So they set up camp that evening, and when Jacob goes to doze off, the princess steals Jacob's gigantic brick of opium and throws it directly into the fire.
Now we're all getting high.
Everybody's
I
chasing
was
the
gonna
dragon.
say they missed an opportunity here to really portray Jacob in the throes of an addiction by just having him stick his face over the fire. It's like, joke's on you. If I'm not gonna be able to get high for the next couple of days, I'm gonna get the highest I've ever been in my life
Yeah.
right now.
Pull a full on Alan Quartermain from League of Extraordinary Gentlemen.
um so the princess and Jacob have a conversation basically where Jacob admits to both running away from his home and searching for something simultaneously. The dialogue is schlocky in this flick. This is supposed to be one of the first establishing shots of Jacob and the princess maybe kind of having a thing for each other, or at least coming to some level of understanding.
Which I found a little weird because I clocked her as like way younger than she's supposed to be in this.
Yeah, probably. It is odd. It doesn't like come to anything in the film, which is fine, but
Yeah.
it is weird. It doesn't read as explicitly platonic maybe as they were hoping.
I mean, they
Um,
kiss at some point, don't they?
do they? I might
They
not
do,
have.
yeah.
I don't remember. But I texted you guys after this movie and I said, I don't remember a thing about this movie.
You did, but you were
Okay,
also
she was like
doing
27 when
opium.
this movie was shot. She just
I
looks
was
young.
also on a lot of opium.
Yeah, yeah.
We try and really immerse ourselves in the
The movie, the
entertainment.
culture of the films.
And it's tough to get opium these days. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, most of it's just heroin now, and it's either not strong enough with heroin or way too strong with fentanyl. So
Now I'm sorry. Now I'm completely distracting myself by like thinking of a heroin dealer being given shit by somebody who's like, I want a fucking opium, man. What is this? They're like, who fucking sells opium anymore? It's like, I'm not interested.
Dudes at music
Just a walk away.
festivals. I've been offered opium so many fucking times at music festivals. I guarantee it's not actually it, but there are dudes that are claiming that that's there.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's just some weird shit sprinkled in some hash.
Yeah,
That's gonna be my
that is
guess.
probably what it is. Yeah. All I'm saying is, if you go to a music festival and Primus is playing, there's probably going to be a dude in a Dr. Seuss hat trying to sell you opium.
Well, yeah, 100%. I think they travel with the band.
They do, yeah. I think it might be the second guitarist.
Or their manager.
Might be their manager, yeah.
So,
it's actually just Lake Clespool's side project.
Which one? Flying Frog Brigade, Oysterhead, the one with John Lennon's son.
It's the one with John Lennon's son,
The one
absolutely.
with John Lennon's son, okay.
Yeah,
I think
he's
that's
got the
called
good shit.
I'm pretty sure that's called the Lennon Claypool Delirium, if I'm not mistaken. So that totally tracks.
I was honestly just gonna let you guys spin this one out because we have no housekeeping to distract next time, and this movie is pretty light on story.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, no. Like I said, pretty sure that's not opium. Pretty sure that's hash with some extra ingredients thrown in. Hash,
Colloidal
not,
silver.
maybe. Yo, speaking of colloidal silver, have you guys checked out any of the new documentaries that dropped? They I think it was HBO did a documentary on that cult with that lady who they thought was God. And this was a couple years back. The only story I remember like actually paying attention to at the time was like the headline was like bunch of cultists get caught with body of dead member they thought was God.
Huh. No, I don't know about this, but I am intrigued.
Yeah, I don't know about this either.
The thing about that one, it was hippie shit that turned into cult shit. But one of the things that they did was hawked colloidal silver and also believed in the powers of colloidal silver. So this lady was full on Smurf colored.
Just a butt full of silver.
Yeah, man. So yeah, now that's
there were people on Reddit asking for her spot price.
Jesus Christ. But yeah, no, I'm a big fan of cult documentaries, and there's a couple in rapid succession, and there was some fun overlap with it, right? So there was the Mother God one that I was just talking about that came out after this Twin Flames one that came out on Netflix, I think it was.
Mm-hmm.
Twin Flames being a cult, sort of. It was more of an MLM with cult flavor thrown in.
Yeah, I gotcha.
And one of the dudes in the Mother God documentary says explicitly twin flame. I was like, oh shit, we got some modern day cult overlap here. That's always intriguing, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, no. I think this is a good place to not quite cliffhanger it.
There is no cliffhangers in this movie.
Nothing in this movie is intriguing enough to become a cliffhanger.
Yeah, and I think honestly, there's only one part of the movie after this that's worth talking about at length.
Yeah.
And it's none of it is good shit. It is about a really wild performance from our main man.
Who is out of the movie for like a super long time and then back in it for a super short time.
And makes the weirdest choices with the remaining time.
Weirdest or
don't
best?
understand.
I mean, I think the good choices you're thinking of, Rich, are all just the costume department being like, what can we do to this man?
No, I absolutely love the voice choices, the where he decides to start yelling things.
Okay, his yelling is definitely his choice, and it is the correct choice each and every time.
It's so good.
It's a spectacle.
Yes.
It's not good.
It's the only entertaining part of the movie. It woke me back up.
Yes.
That's fair. There's a lot of parts of that that are they'll jar you out. You'll watch that part, but it's so odd. It's I don't know. It's like putting a river pebble in like in the setting of a ring that otherwise you're just like, what fucking sense does this make? Not a lot.
No.
But yeah, sure. There you go. There's the first half of Outcast. This is one of those films that we do that really I think is the primary benefit of listening to our podcast, because you're not going to watch this fucking movie. I'm telling you right now. I'm also telling you not to watch this movie.
I'm surprised we watched this movie.
Hey, was I the only one that spent this entire movie wondering where Andre 3000 was?
Yes.
It fucking took me a second to play.
I want to know where the other guy is.
Big
At
boy?
least, yeah, everybody remembers Andre 3000 because he was in Semi-Pro.
He was amazing in Semi-Pro. He's also in Four Brothers.
He was in Four Brothers.
And I will not hear slander against that Marky Mark joint unless
I know you love that movie.
Some of the previous actions of Marky Mark. But yeah, no, did either of you listen to his flute album?
No, but I need to. I love a good flute.
I checked out the interview.
Big Boy or Andre 3000?
Andre 3000.
Okay.
He was writing a fucking rap album, and then he was like, I'm just really interested in these flute fucking solos I've been laying down. I'm just gonna do a whole album of this.
I didn't know he could play the flute.
You are underselling his reasoning why.
Yeah,
because
okay.
When they interviewed him, they're like, why aren't you doing a rap album? People were like, you were quiet for so long. People was like, he's probably writing the most fire rap album. And he's like, I'm old. He's like, I sat down to write verses. And I was like, what am I going to talk about? Like taking baby aspirin every day for my heart health? Like,
that part I did
say about it.
I do like the memes where it's just Andre 3000 with a flute, and it's the subtitle is "These motherfuckers don't deserve words."
That's pretty funny.
Yeah.
But yeah, please check us out next time to get the riveting conclusion to the film Outcast. Again, a movie you have never seen and will never see. I'm
also spoiler on that. It's not riveting.
Yeah,
but please still listen to it. We'll see what
we'll see
what happens.
We might make it riveting. You never know what's going to happen.
Yeah, you don't. I mean, maybe we'll have another Mormon digression. It's hard to tell. But yep. If you're starved for content from us, you can always go ahead and add us on X, formerly known as Twitter, at cagefight_pod. More than happy to interact with listeners on there for as long as that lasts.
What do you think it's got? Like 4 days left?
I never know.
7? I don't know.
But every time Musk posts on that, it's just the Simpsons meme for me. It's just like, stop, it's already dead.
Oh, I thought you were going to talk about Grandpa Simpson walking and taking his hat off and then immediately turning around, putting his hat back on and leaving.
Yeah, no. I'll be in the cold ground before I start calling it X. We have our Patreon, and obviously it drops during ad reads, but if you give us just $1, no ads, you get our Patreon content, uncut episodes, stuff recorded before and after, where we talk about shit, and sometimes it's fun. That's how we learned about Turbo Kong today. And if you want to know what that is, give us $1.
And if you want to know what happened to the guy that played Random Task on Austin Powers,
don't look it up. It's super grim.
Don't look it up. Let's just give us $1 and let us
We'll tell you
know,
about it in
cringe
really
about it.
vague terms so you can avoid all the gruesomeness. It's the best way to figure out what happened there. Trust me.
Yeah, or if not, he threw a shoe at someone, I guess.
Who does
throws a shoe?
Honestly. But yeah, no, that'll do it for us this time. Thank you, as always, for tuning in, listeners. And please remember, we appreciate you.